Damn, that escalated real quick. This is Socratic Rips, and let's do this. And before we get started, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, follow. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you have some comments, put them down in the comment section. I would greatly appreciate that as well. But where do I start? Wow. Pokemon 151. Dang, that just blew up. I made a video, I think, on the 3rd, and I pulled my numbers on March 2nd. So like around like 11 o'clock at night, as I was editing my video. And I didn't think by the next morning things were going to start to pop off. But apparently they started, around March 3rd, things start spiking pretty dramatically. So even by the end of the day on, March 3rd going into March 4th, we were seeing cards up pretty high. And yeah, I'm going to be real with you guys. It's kind of like ridiculous how fast they kind of went up. And so some people are asking me down in the comments, hey, why do you think they spiked so dramatically? Well, one of the reasons obviously is Pokemon's 30th year anniversary. That's pretty big. It's been out for a long time. 30 years is pretty long, guys. Not only that, you had Pokemon 151 booster bundles leaving the vending machines, so the official Pokemon vending machines. That is huge. There's really not many places to get Pokemon 151 at MSRP or, retail price, whatever you want to call it. Unless you get lucky at a Walmart restock and get the Alakazam box, you're not getting it pretty much for MSRP. So that's another reason. Then you had the drop of, Pokemon Red and Green on a Nintendo Switch. That's another big one. I mean, you really think about it. Those games only have the original Pokemon. You ask anybody to name a Pokemon, even though Pokemon's been out for 30 years, these people are going to typically say one of the original 151 Pokemon. I mean, I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm one of those people. I love the original. As you can tell, I am older than 30 years old. So for me, I'm really big for the 151 Pokemon. So those are 3 key reasons right off the bat. And then people with that 30th anniversary, there's a lot of FOMO around that. People are like, oh, I need to buy this year. And looking at some of these numbers right off the bat, I mean, Charizard blew up. I mean, we're looking about like $481. Yeah, to me, that's kind of crazy. Somebody's trying to sell one for $690 on TCG. Good luck with that, buddy. If you get it, power to you, but I don't know if it's going to get that high. But I can see it. I can see it going up a little bit more, then eventually kind of retracting down around the $350 range, and be there for a while. But eventually, let's just be honest. This card in another year or so, 2 years, could be a $600 card. So it's up to you if you want to buy it now. But I'm in a boat where it's like, that's too much for me. I just can't buy it. I can't swing it. I have a partner that's who my wife's gonna be like, nope, you can't buy that. And I like being married. I ain't trying to get divorced. So if you're trying to get divorced, maybe go be reckless with your money, but not me. Or I can just test my boundaries. I don't know. Maybe I'll try that. We'll see. But another one that really just blew up, is the Blastoids. Wow, the Blastoids SIR just spiked. I remember for a while this card was pretty low, like almost like in the $60 range, and now we're looking about like $200 in the $220 range. To me, that is just wild to see that price spike. I mean, if you're not amazed by that price spike, I don't know what else could it be. Like, could I see this card going a little higher? Yeah, of course I can. It's a phenomenal card. In my opinion, I was pretty much shocked that it was not a $200 card for a while. So I could see this card going up a little higher, being around the $200 range for the long haul. But hey, we don't know, right? But it's a dope card. I love the card personally. Venusaur is another one. I mean, it didn't have that spike like Blastoise, but you went from like what, about a $75 card all the way up to like a $150 card. That's a pretty big spike, almost like double the price. So if you can find this still for a lower price in the low hundreds, I say jump on it. But yeah, it's just crazy seeing these prices, how they jumped. Another one, like we got this Charmeleon. Someone's trying to sell it for $117, but it's about an $88 card on TCG. It's a great card, but I asked myself, is it $88? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think this card is an $88 card? The one card that I'm also surprised is Charmander. 168. We're looking at about like a $58 card, and now it's up to about $131. I love this card. I've pulled it a couple times. I wish I didn't sell them when they were like, $80. I think I pulled like 4 of them, which couldn't give me the Charizard, but I guess I'll take them. So I did a lot of trading. I didn't sell them all, but traded for other cards. Squirtle is another one. I actually really love this IR. It's great. Someone's trying to sell it for $186. Whew. It's a great card. I don't know if it's a $186 card, but you let me know down in the comments. Do you think it's actually worth that price? But right now we're seeing about $137 on TCG, which it's not bad. The most recent sell is like $115. So yeah, we'll see if people get that. We'll see how the market's going to move in the next few days. War Turtle, that's another one. It's looking about like a $75 card. That's the most recent sell on TCG. Someone's trying to sell it for $90. I think this is another phenomenal card, in my opinion. I love the art at 151. The nostalgic factor. Obviously, I like that. Bulbasaur is another one. Bulbasaur. I love the card personally. It's a great card. Someone's trying to sell one for $124.69. And the most recent sell was for $116.24. Yeah, and if you're wondering, yeah, this is from March 6th around 11 o'clock at night. So obviously I like making videos at 11 o'clock at night. But it's a dope card. Again, like, do y'all think this is actually worth that price? I do think some of these cards are going to go down in price eventually, and to their new, their new highs, to their new normals. But so just be careful and just watch, try to watch the market, watch the prices, and, watch for deals out there. And you got Pikachu. This card spiked from around December from $39. So it was December 10th, all the way up to about $80 right now. So I think the most recent sell is $76, and someone's trying to sell for $94. Yeah, I think this card is pretty dope in my opinion. I mean, when I scoop it up, I regret not buying it. This is one of the cards I should have snagged up and just didn't do it. Psyduck's another one too, man. This card, I love this card. Someone, was at $31. Now it's about like an $80 card. The most recent sell is $80, and someone's trying to sell for $95. It's a dope card. So just be careful. There's a lot of good cards out there, and people are trying to push the limits on how high they can get these prices. Ivysaur. So, I mean, Ivysaur, the most recent sell was $67. Someone's trying to sell for $68. If you notice the Ivysaur and the Charmeleon, they're not terribly priced right now. And so if you're trying to jump on some of those, maybe you might want to do it. But it's up to you. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. If I was trying to finish off a collection, I would probably scoop those up because they're not terrible yet. The other card that I said people should buy up, was $90 in the last video. And now people, like the last recent sell, the Zapdos is $138. That's a $48 price difference from March 3rd to March 6th. Dang. I mean, that would have been a nice card to get, and if you wanted to sell or hold on to it. But I honestly, I'm still just utterly amazed that this card is not worth more. I still think this card has a lot of room to grow. And I think when people start to see how amazing this card is, I think this card is going to go, stay up there for a while. But we'll see. You know, the Pokemon, market works in mysterious ways. But I'm curious, looking at all these prices, do you think that Pokemon 151's price jump is actually justified? And I go back and forth on that. Do I think that these prices are justified, like the price spikes? In some cases, yeah. I think some of these cards should have been at that price point already. Like the Blastoids probably should have been about a $200 card. You can debate me on that all you want. Put it down in the comments. I think it is a phenomenal card. The Venusaur, I think it's not a bad price at $150. So to me, it's like one of the best cards. A lot of people I know think it's the best looking card in the set. I think the Zapdos should be more money too. And so, if I were y'all, I would look at, especially if you're looking at some of the lower end cards, the lower end IRs, they're not jumping to the same levels. And so if you're missing some of them, I still think, right now would be probably be the best time to jump on them because, the original 151 Pokemon are going to be classic. They're never going to go out of style. Just point blank, no BS. The 151 original Pokemon are not going to go out of style. They are the bread and butter. They are the heart of the Pokemon, like community, everything. Like they are what started it. And so for me, it's like, I understand like why this set is going to blow up. Because like I said earlier, ask anybody to name one Pokemon. You can get 10 people. And majority of those 10 people will say one of the original 151 Pokemon. Just saying, they're going to pick one of the Gen 1s. I know I would. I asked my students today, like, hey, name a Pokemon. Pikachu. Name a Pokemon. Snorlax. Name a Pokemon. Like, they were all naming the originals. So, I want y'all to think about that as you go on. Like, this spike is crazy. And I don't know when it's going to end. I think if anybody says they know exactly when this spike is going to end, and they know, there's going to be a crash, they're full of it. The market is the market. As long as there's demand, it's going to keep going up. And if the supply starts to dwindle, it's going to keep going up. If people say, hey, I don't want to pay that, eventually prices are going to go down. That's just the way it works. So if everybody right now, a bunch of people start to be like, you know what? I'm going to sell my Pokemon 151 cards. And they flood the market. You know what's going to happen? Prices are going to go down. So do I think prices are going to go down a little bit eventually? Yes, because people are going to sell them. I already have a few friends that are like, dude, I'm going to sell mine off. And if the prices go down, I'm going to rebuy them. And if they don't go down, they said they'll be fine without it. But let me know down in the comments, if you have a bunch of Pokemon 151 IRs, SIRs, are you going to sell them because of how high the prices are? Or are you going to hold them for the long haul? Let me know down in the comments. And also let me know, what do you think about this price spike for Pokemon 151? With that said, guys, make sure to like, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate you showing me that love, because I'm continually trying to grow this channel, and so all your help will be helpful. This is Socratic Rips, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.